friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, I'm here to talk about learning how to say no. And it's something that I think is really important for people to learn, especially as if you've already got all these skills and acquired all these things to help be more self-sufficient and do things for yourself, or just to flat out be creative, or you're in the process of doing these things. One thing that you are going to find is there's always going to be people that are going to want to take advantage of you and your time and your resources. Maybe it's family members that just expect to get free eggs, or somebody who you barely know sees you make something for somebody else, whether it be a quilt or a scarf or a hat or whatever, and expects you to do the same thing for them for free. I've heard stories about people who work in an office that they love to crochet, and if they know someone in the office is expecting a child, they will crochet like an Afghan or something for the baby as a gift. But then other people in the office would start expecting the same things without even having a reason. They just started asking for stuff and expecting it for free, not even offering to buy the yarn. And this is the stuff you're going to be up against. Or if you do start selling your items, such as when I was selling the skirts, people who are used to buying Chinese-made product, from Walmart or wherever, and they go in there and they see a skirt that's $15, and then they expect you to do the same thing and charge $15, even though it may take $70 to $90 worth of fabric alone just to make that skirt, because my patchwork skirts just in the fabrics, can cost that much. And even if they're willing to give you the fabrics to make it, they still want your time for free. And they don't understand why you would charge so much. And you're just ripping people off. It's because of the mindset people have already been conditioned to. So you have to help people understand that it's like, okay, what do you think my time per hour is worth? Do you expect me to get paid nothing for the time that goes into this? Because my time is precious. I have other responsibilities in my life, and this is going to take me X amount of hours to make. What do you think my time is worth? And if they get paid $20, $30, $40 an hour, shouldn't they expect you to get paid as much? And though no, I've never charged that much for the stuff I've made. For a while there, I was only getting paid like $2 an hour for my time for the skirts. And then I started raising the price so I could at least get up to maybe $5 an hour. And you're still going to get people that don't care. They just think you should be kind enough to do them a favor. And that's where I'm talking about that you got to learn how to say no. Be polite, be kind, explain why if you need to. But there will be some people that will never understand because they don't do these things and they're very entitled and they expect you to just give them stuff. So I'm going to give a few examples just from my own experience. I mean, the skirts were one thing. I did deal with people that just thought I was charging way too much when I was really hardly getting paid anything just for my time. But back when, especially in the early days where I was teaching dance, and I taught kids of all ages from 3 clear on up through teenagers, and I was in a church at the time, and I was kind of waiting to see if there was some kind of ministry where I would have the time and the ability to maybe fit in there. And all the things that would have really suited me, there were already people in those ministries. However, the people in the church had ideas for me. They thought I would be the perfect Sunday school teacher or children's church minister or whatever, something like that, dealing with kids, because I worked with kids all week. Obviously, I had the experience. Without even thinking about the fact that, well, that's my work. That's something I do all week long. That's not really something I want to do for the church too. I'd rather do something different because I'm already around kids, including my own, all week long. I would like to do something different. And I got really kind of treated like crud because I turned down that ministry. It wasn't like it was a paid position. It would have been something I would have been doing for free. That was something I get a lot because I worked with kids. That just should mean I naturally want to work with kids all the time, 24/7. And then when I started getting into making like the denim quilts, especially those, I was doing crocheted items as well. But I was doing these things like where I'd go get, people would donate jeans to me that they didn't need anymore, didn't wear anymore. I'd go down to the clothing bank and buy up some for real cheap. And I was making these denim quilts out of the jeans and donating them to auctions to help with various things in our community. And so people would see those quilts and then assume that, well, if I bring all my daughter's old jeans, can you make me a quilt? And when I would say, well, okay, I'd have to figure out what my hourly rate would be, all of a sudden they were just like offended that I would charge them at all because they were going to bring me their kids' old jeans to make a quilt for them. They expected me to do it for free. And these were people I hardly knew. It wasn't like they were even family or close friends. They were just people that had this assumption that I just had all kinds of time to donate to them for free because I donated these quilts for good causes. So I do think we should learn to be willing to also give to people in need, because I've done that too. I've made stuff, crocheted things and stuff for people in need, but sometimes other people who aren't in need will see that and just assume you should do the same thing for them. And that's where that whole entitlement thing comes in. Oh, if I buy the yarn, then can you make it? They, even that, they think that's a good deal for both of you because, well, I'm buying a yarn. You don't have to buy it. Well, but they don't seem to care one bit about your time and what it costs. And so it's learning how to put your foot down and just say, no, if you want this is what my hourly rate is. And this will take me roughly so many hours, and give them a price. And most likely they may have to just learn how to do it themselves. That also comes down to when you're like, as you learn these things, you want to share this information. That's why I started YouTube. I want to share the information I already have so far and the things I'm learning as I go, because I'm always learning something new. And so people will see that, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, and oh, I'd really like you to make me this and make me that. There was a time I was making the skirts and aprons, and there was reasons why I had to stop doing that. One being my time becoming more precious because now I have 4 grandbabies, and also because I have to protect my knee that I injured a few years ago when I tore my ACL. And so I have to be very careful how often I run my treadle machine, and I need to save those sewing projects for my own personal needs or those things that I'm doing for my family. But I'll still get people, just like the book issue, writing a book issue. Now, I don't mind people asking. I get that question a lot, especially from new people. Do you have a book? Will you ever write a book? And the answer is no and no. Well, I shouldn't say I'll never. There might be that chance somewhere down the road when my grandbabies are all grown. But even when people understand my reasons and I explain why I won't do it, they still want to pressure and guilt me into doing it. That's why I have videos out on how to make the patchwork skirts or even just the solid skirts. That was, in fact, the first sewing video I did was how to make the frontier skirt. And it was just I kind of came up with the pattern, the idea myself. It's not really even a pattern. You just put a bunch of fabric together. And if you're interested in that, I'll link to that for the remastered version of that video down below, as well as my patchwork skirt series. That's just some ideas. You're going to get people who might even be willing to pay you for it, but not understanding that you have other responsibilities that have to come first. And like for me, my grandbabies and the time I spend with them and taking care of them has to come before these other things, especially than writing a book or putting together thumb drives or DVDs of all my videos. But also, so you know, other things to consider is the reason I don't want to write a book is I'm always changing as I grow and learn more things. I change how I do things and come up with better ideas or different recipe hacks that I wouldn't want to have to keep rewriting my books and then expect you to keep buying them, when at least for now, you can still watch my videos and my updated videos for free on either Rumble or YouTube, or even on Patreon or Substack, where I share my written recipes for free. Nothing is behind a paywall. So it's a really good deal. You can just write the stuff down if you have to, or print off the recipes that I already have typed up. This message really should also go to the other people who really want something from somebody. You got to understand that there's work and time involved, and you got to learn to be respectful of that person's time. You may have no idea all the many other responsibilities they have and the other things they need to get done, and they're not going to always have time to drop everything and do something for you, especially without any kind of compensation. Now, I'm the kind of person that I do enjoy doing stuff for people as time allows, out of the kindness of my heart as a surprise. But if people are just going to start expecting stuff and demanding stuff out of me, then my answer is no. And then here's the other thing, because a lot of people say, oh, you do everything. No, I don't. There's things I believe I could do if I took the time to learn, like knit, or I know I could, I just have no desire. We're not really in a place where we can have, though we can have our chickens, we're not in a place right now in our life where we could have things like sheep or goats, which I've long since decided I don't want goats. But if I ever got any type of meat animal or dairy and meat animal, it'd probably be Icelandic sheep. But we had some friends that were doing the Icelandic sheep, and we did some work for them. We bartered. So Patrick helped them lay in their infrastructure for the sheep, and in exchange, we got some of the lamb once it was processed. And let me tell you, that's good stuff. The Icelandic, if you ever decide to go with, if you don't care for lamb, like the flavor, because we never really did till I tried this. Good stuff. Far more mild, doesn't have any of that wild taste that's really strong. Now, some people may like that. It's just not really our thing. But at any rate, I didn't expect them to give us that meat for free, just because we're friends, and vice versa. But we did make a deal. And so you can do that. So if someone's saying, well, hey, can you make this for me? Maybe they don't have any money, but maybe they have something else they can offer. Or on the other hand, you see something that somebody that's already doing something that you can't quite grasp, don't have time to learn, but you would like them to make you a hat or make you a quilt or an Afghan or a baby outfit. What do you have to offer them out of your own skills? That if you don't have the money to pay for it, what do you have to offer out of your own skills to compensate? And see if you can work out a deal that way. Otherwise, be willing to pay them for their time and their materials. As what I would call a recovering people pleaser, we have a desire to always want to make people happy, to please people. And especially when I started my channel, I felt like I needed to make everybody happy. And then it was like, duh, of course you can't make everybody happy. No matter what the video's about, no matter what the topic, no matter what you say, somebody will be unhappy with your video. That's life. You cannot assume you can please everybody. So there is a difference between being a people pleaser, where you feel like you got to make everybody happy, even at the expense of your own time and health, and just being someone who is generous and kind and loves to give. I have been, and sometimes still am, that people pleaser, but I've had to learn to set that aside and focus on being kind and generous, especially to those in need, or to show my love and compassion to someone. And that's what I save my time for, not for the people who just demand it for free and don't appreciate or respect my time. So that's what you have to learn. It can be a difficult balance sometimes. And so just understand that when you get into this, or when you start doing these things, or you start making it more public that you have these skills or these things, you have eggs from your chickens, there will be people that will come out of the woodwork that will expect something from you, and you're going to have to set that people pleaser side of you aside and say, yeah, you can have some eggs. I charge $4, $5, $6 a dozen, depending on your location and how much it costs for your feed and time and all that going into the eggs. It can vary per location. And if they balk at that, well, that's their problem. They don't have to buy them. They can go to the store. But if they're saying, sure, sounds great, because I have some loyal customers that always buy eggs from me. One more thing I want to throw in here is that when it comes to what we do, remember that if you're like me, you have a channel, you have a blog, or you just share this stuff on Facebook, you're already giving of your time to help show people and teach people how to do things themselves. So just like I have videos on doing a lot of these different things, already there's that. And that is a way you can approach some things if you already have the information out there. Well, here's this, or here's this written recipe so you can make this yourself. Oh, and I want to say another thing too is if I want my daughter-in-law, who's just an excellent baker, even though I do a lot of cooking, baking and stuff, she makes these amazing cakes. And if I want her to make some cupcakes or cakes for something, just because she's my daughter-in-law, just because she's married to my son, I do not expect her, because that's her business especially, to do it for free. I will always pay her. I don't expect things out of her just because she's family. So with that said, I would like to hear from a lot of you who have been on this situation where you've got friends, family, or even total strangers or people you hardly know expecting and demanding things from you and not wanting to even compensate you for your time. How do you handle this with love and kindness? Because that's the first step. You got to try to be loving and patient and kind, because some people just don't have that mindset because of the society they've been brought up in. And then if they get rude, then what do you do? And just share with us some of your experiences in the comments down below, and any other thoughts, ideas you'd like to share. And I hope you enjoyed this and it kind of helped you to kind of think along these lines. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.